All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of I Believe Now What News. And today we're going to be talking about some news that just came out a few hours ago, and it was broken open by Leonardo Blair. And saw this on Twitter. We'll go ahead and go over to the page. This article is coming from the Christian Post and written by Leonardo Blair. And as you see, it says Robert Morris did not get a severance after resignation over abuse scandal, Gateway Church reveals. Now, before we get into this, I do want to say that we're going to talk about number one, the fact that this is happening, which honestly, this is a good thing. The man should not get anything whatsoever. Well, I mean, for all the horrible things that he's done. And on top of that, we're actually going to look in a little bit of how much was Robert making while he was at Gateway, because whew, I tell you what, it's just a lot of bad, shady financial practices, really just overpaying for. Let's just get into it. You'll see in the article. So, Gateway Church founder Robert Morris received no severance payout after he resigned from the Texas megachurch in the wake of the allegations that he essayed Cindy Clemishire over multiple years in 1980s, beginning when she was 12. Responding to questions from the Christian Post regarding the terms of Morris' exit from the church on June 18th, Lawrence Swicegood, executive director of Gateway Media, tersely told the Christian Post, quote, no, when asked if the megachurch founder had received any kind of severance package. Now, there are a lot of questions probably wrapped up in this. Is he going to continue to get paid, throughout all of his ministries, for books that he wrote, things of that nature? I'm sure that's probably the case and what's going to happen. So he's not going to be hurting too much from not getting a severance, but at least the church had the wherewithal. I really don't think they had a choice. They had to do this, because if it got out that they gave him a severance, that would be like the final nail in the coffin for Gateway Church, if there wasn't a final nail in that coffin already. So they did not give him a severance package. But what's even more shocking is just how much money Robert Morris was getting paid. And it says it was unclear Friday how much Morris, whose net worth is estimated around $117 million. We actually talked about that a few weeks ago when we brought up the various websites kind of doing the estimated net worth. And he was getting paid by Gateway Church prior to his resignation. The Internal Revenue Service only requires that churches report income from unrelated trade or business. So, how much was Robert Morris getting paid from Gateway? We don't really know. At least they are being transparent from what we can see and say, no, he's not going to get any type of severance or anything like that. But we have no idea how much he was making as the pastor of Gateway Church. But we do get some insights from his other dealings. So we talked a little bit about this, but the Christian Post did a lot more digging, and they kind of compiled it in a much easier to understand format for us. So a look at Morris's earnings associated with an income generated from his preaching and teaching with the Robert Morris Evangelistic Association shows him progressing from being paid about $15,000 plus an additional $25,000 in allowances back in 2003. And remember, this is just his Robert Morris Evangelistic Association, not the church or anything else he had going on, just this association. This was back in 2003, and as high as $350,000 annually in the last decade of the church's operation. And if you want to know where they're pulling that from, it's all right here in public records. So, and it would be helpful if you can see it, but it's all right here in public records. But what the Christian Post did was seemingly pull out a lot of the stuff so that way it can go ahead and make a lot more sense for us. So let's go back into it. According to the IRS 990 filings by the Robert Morris Evangelistic Association in 2002, the ministry paid him $200,000. And we talked about this, for 15 hours of work weekly. Work 15 hours a week, get $200,000, plus whatever he was making from all of his other deals on the other end. In 2021, he worked the same number of hours, but was paid not only, but $100,000. In 2020, records show that he was paid $200,000. In 2019, Morris executive compensation from the ministry was $300,000. In 2018 and 2017, Morris was paid $350,000. In 2016 and 2015, he was paid $250,000. 2014, $300,000. 2013, he reported $310,000 in compensation from the ministry. In 2012, he reported $120,000, and in 2011, $131,000. While in 2005, Morris reported zero in compensation from the ministry, he received $93,000 in expense account that shows other and other allowances. He reported the same in 2006 and 2007 for 15 hours of weekly work. In 2008, he reported $20,500 in compensation plus $93,000 in expense accounts and other allowances. In 2009, he reported almost $30,000 in compensation plus $93,000 in expense accounts and other allowances. And in 2010, he reported $97,000 in compensation plus $93,000 in expense and accounts other and other allowances. Ooh, a lot of repeating of words there. So basically, what is all this showing? Robert Moore was making a lot of money. I mean, between his ministry that we can see right here, the book sales, I'm not sure where that money was coming from or going to, but also being the pastor, being paid for speaking engagements in other places. I'm not sure where that money gets flowed into or filed into or whatever, but needless to say, Robert Morris was very, very well off. Now, by no means, I don't want you to think that I believe a pastor should be living in the side of a tent or living in a tent on the side of the church, living a very poor and impoverished life. But at the same time, I don't believe pastors should be living this luxurious, lavish lifestyle when the majority of their congregants are not doing the same either. A nice, humble, but yet comfortable lifestyle would be optimal. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you're living in crazy mansions and driving fancy sports cars and making all this amount of money, it just looks bad, honestly, because it does make it look like you're in it for gain. People may have their different opinions on that, whatever the case may be. That's just my personal opinion. That's what I'm throwing out there. Needless to say, Robert Morris was making a lot of money. So even though he is getting zero compensation when it comes to his severance for his resignation, meanwhile, he never should have, been able to resign. He should have just got fired. But in his resignation, at least we know he's not getting any money in that severance as per Gateway Church. On Wednesday, the board of elders of Gateway Church and the overseers of Pastor Robert Morris Ministry said in a joint statement posted on Robert Morris Ministries homepage that, quote, all future and radio television broadcasts for Morris have been canceled, meaning he's not going to get any more ad revenue coming in from those various things. Pastor Robert's sin and lack of transparency to the church's elders and leadership has disqualified him from continuing his role as senior pastor at Gateway Church and as leader of Pastor Robert Morris Ministries. As a result, all future radio and television broadcast ministries from Pastor Robert Morris Ministries has been canceled, and the ministry leaders said in their statement. Texas-based Daystar Television, one of the largest Christian, not a great television station, by the way, one of the largest Christian television networks in the world, also removed a programming featuring Robert Morris following his resignation from Gateway. And then it goes through basically everything that we've kind of been talking about throughout this entire time. The allegations from Clemishire, the fact that the church, basically let him resign and that they're hiring an independent investigation. So to speak, independent from different people have different opinions on that. But what is all this saying? So number one, the news, just to get it out there, Robert Morris is not going to get any money from Gateway Church from here on out. Number two, at least now that we know of. Number two, sadly, the man probably still is well off, and he is not. He's probably not really hurting for anything right now. We'll see as time goes on, whatever the case is. We got some questions over here. So Rita asks, I wonder why they are putting this info out. So Rita, if you did miss it, the reason why they are putting this information out is because they were asked by the Christian Post, I think it was weeks ago, when they actually asked them for a comment asking this question, and they finally got back to them saying no. Just a quote, no. So no clarification was given there, nothing else, just a big resounding no. So that's what we were getting out of that. Honestly, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. There's not much more else to really say. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse over and over and over and over and over again, but I did want to get this news out there. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, and we will talk about it later. All right. I love y'all. Have a good one. Remember to pray for the church, y'all, because we know Christ's true church is always going to prevail no matter what. I want to make that 100% clear. All Christians should know that. Christ true church will always prevail. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all on the next one.